Well, indeed, if you don't know by now, let me tell you that I have been fortunate enough to find a fourth tire for my punch-counterpunch figure. In exchange, I had to do a couple of little repairs. One of them was to an animated Bumblebee, and the other was to this guy. This guy. By rights, it is the base robot mode of Energon Optimus Prime, but I think we all know that really this is more like Grandpa-mus Prime. Get it? Grandpa? Either way, the base mode, not his Super Optimus mode with all those pieces, because I wasn't given those pieces. The base mode and the repair that I did to this base robot mode will be the focus of the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. And this is, bar none, the ugliest Optimus Prime robot mode that I think I've ever seen. It's not... I can't say it's not good, but I can say it's good. This is... functionally... this is fine. Especially for the time that it came out in 2003, 2004, functionally it was fine. And it feels solid. The plastic feels good. Everything on it is ratcheted. It's great in that regard. But to look at it, it's like Optimus, retired from being the leader of the Autobots and stopped going to the gym and, some tabloid took pictures of him when he was, on his way to the grocery store or to pick up a hamburger or something, and was like, "You wouldn't believe what Optimus looks like now," because it's not a good silhouette. But does that mean it's not a good figure? Well, we're about to find out. I didn't want to look at the Super Optimus mode because it kind of gives the guy a little bit of an unfair advantage, sorta. So we're going to take a look at the robot mode and the flat-nosed Cybertronian truck mode, I guess, for this guy. And while I aesthetically think that there's a lot here that's not fantastic, what about functionally? Just how good is he? Well, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And outside of Armada Unicron, who I looked at a long time ago in episode 13, the kind of Generations version of Starscream that I've looked at a couple of times, Tidal Wave that I looked at in 308, the Cybertron Sky Shadow from episode 187, and Primus himself from episode 100. I don't think I've looked at anything else from the Unicron trilogy. And now I'm going to look at the base form of this guy. Why? Well, I kind of had this guy come into my hands because I had to repair him for someone. Friend of the channel, Matthew, sourced to me a tire for the new punch-counterpunch figure who I looked at in episode 463, I think. And in return, he needed a couple of repairs done, this being one of them, because the chest piece was kind of coming off. So after I had it done, I said, hey, why not kind of take a look at the base figure? Now, I say the base figure because we don't have the trailer here, and we don't have, all of his Super Optimus parts or whatever. I don't know, all these, upgrades and, added parts and getting bigger and super ultra and whatnot, it's not my thing. It's very anime inspired, and it's that method of storytelling, and if you dig it, cool. It's not for me. The solution to everything is let's make it bigger with more power. Sometimes you want to know that the leader of the Autobots is just good in his own right. He don't need the extra bells and whistles, man. Is this a good version of the Autobot leader? Well, he rolls pretty fantastic. It's definitely kind of a weird Cybertronian truck mode thing, I guess. I suppose if you really want, you can have Optimus's head up and he'd be like, hey, I can see you even while I'm driving. It's it's weird, but you could do it. Otherwise, it just does the typical Optimus thing of folding down. Look, here's the thing. Is it accurate to the animation? Largely enough that I'm going to say that this is really about a good 8.5 for being accurate to the animation. Except we have white all around the windows and whatnot there. I think it would have been helped if at least the center bar and across the top and down the sides was red, because that would have looked more like the animation. Besides that, it's pretty accurate. We're going to talk about his articulation and his transformation when we get him in robot mode, which is pretty quick and easy, to be honest with you. But right now, it looks like the truck. And I can tell you that in robot mode, outside of, you know, the bit of additional red there, maybe on the front, it pretty much looks like his, you know, kind of base mode, or, you know, like base robot mode form from the animation. It is what it is. So what about the transformation? Well, I said it's easy, and indeed it is. We can just pick that up. It's really like his helmet, I suppose, for when he's like Super Optimus, but I don't know. It could work like a satellite dish type of thing, radar dish type of thing, I don't know. But we pick that up, we bring out an arm, and we bring out an arm. Simple. This, I guess, really can kind of go back down for now. His robot mode head, it comes up, no problem. And now we can sort of pick him up, and his legs are just underneath here. They fold down. And when they fold down, there is a panel back here, and it folds up on the back, and then the whole kind of back folds in. I'm just going to, because he's getting tall, I'll reposition this, but before I do that, I will bring out his foot there on the front, and the heel on the back is the exact same thing, like his front and back parts of his foot. There's nothing different about them, you know, but that's common. We've seen that a billion times, have we not? He does get alright tall, I suppose, even though he is well noted as being like underwhelming and undersized when put alongside the Cybertron and Armada versions of the Autobot leader. So I don't know. I'm not really familiar with these guys, so he seems like a decent size to me. You know, we'll see him in comparison to some figures in just a little bit. But to finish off the transformation for the base robot mode here, we're just about there, really. You just bring that down, and there's a slider on the side there. I don't know, let's bend his arm up. And then over here, same thing. Slider on the outside of the arm, bend it up, and I guess we can just turn this around and bring it down on the back. And there you go. There he is in his robot mode. You know, like I said, if we had red up the center and kind of over along the sides up here, and maybe even just down here on the side, not along the front, that was white, but if we had a little bit more red in those places, I think that this would be like a good 9.5 to that model. It's an 8.5 as it stands. Now here's the thing, is it good? No, it's not. This is a terrible design. This is awful looking. And when I see it, the only thing I can think of is, like, imagine that, like, Optimus is like a retired football player or a retired wrestler or like a retired mixed martial artist or boxer or something, and like he hasn't been in the gym in, you know, 20 years, but like he still has those old war stories, but like, you know, now I got that dad bod or that granddad bod thing going on. You know, how I can't do what I used to do when I was a young man, when I was just a lad. I think it's not a good design, but it's accurate. So 8.5 for accuracy, but in terms of being good, like 3 maybe. It's ugly. There's no nice way to say it. It's ugly. Now, of course, to be fair, this is not exactly how he should be represented. I mean, stop and consider, if you will, that by rights, this piece can come up around the back and come over and flip over and come down inside with little ear pieces kind of going up and form like a, is that right? Form like a, you know, like a bigger head. And I guess, honestly, I have no idea how these are supposed to go. I'm going to say like this. You know, his proportions seem off, but to be fair, I guess, like really, he should kind of be like this, because you should have, what is it, like a submarine and a helicopter, I want to say like a drill tank and a train or something. I don't know what his four components are, but like they can, it's very Scramble City-ish, where they can each be an arm or a leg. They can all go on him in any configuration. Now the cool part is Wing Saber can be attached to him as well to give him a super mode, and Omega Supreme can really be attached to him to give him a super mode. It seems like about the only thing I'm missing here is the fact that the chest goes open for this mode, which I guess I'll do there now. Open that side out and this side opens out. And like this is really reminiscent of the Combiner Wars Optimus Prime that we got. And a lot of people said there that the torso mode for that, especially depending on the color vehicles you would put on, like the Mirage could go on him, as well as I think like I don't know who else was able to go on him. I don't know, but like you were able to put colors on that kind of gave him the configuration of this Energon Optimus Prime. Like it's almost like it was an unintended or maybe intended nod to this figure, especially with the chest opening up like it does here. And there's like a button here on the switch right down here on the back, and the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives you different lights and sound. Over on this side, there's a little button down right there. I think that's supposed to make the center light up. This isn't mine. Like I said, it belongs to friend of the channel, Matthew. And like, okay, I guess it's not hard to get here. It's easy to get in this mode. I don't know how secure it is with the other pieces on it, or what that articulation is like. But in terms of transformation and getting to all these modes, 10. It's easy to get to truck. It's easy to get to robot, and it's easy to get to torso. 10. Still not, it still doesn't look cool, but 10. By the way, the broken piece was the little white cap up here was gone, so this chest piece was like falling off. Well, it was off. The only way to hold it on was like if you glued it on or used some of that like blue sticky tack stuff to hold it in place. I actually rebuilt the cap up there, so now this can open and close again, which I'm happy for. Not for me, because it's not my figure, but I'm glad I was able to fix it for him. So that being said, yeah, so far we have a 8.5, we have a 10. And because I can't go through the super articulation, but because he's so versatile and able to connect with so many things, right away, I think that has to help his overall score. It's so much versatility. So what about his articulation for the, regular robot mode? Well, let's keep in mind that we are talking about a figure from 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. So this is well dated. I mean, it's a good 15 years old by now. The transformation still stands up as great. It's not overly like thought out, but to be fair, The argument could be made that though the transformation is easy, look at the atrocious robot mode that you get. It's not an attractive robot mode. But I think that part of what hurts it is the fact that they had to kind of make the torso large for the limbs, for the legs, the arms, and the head in this regular mode, because the torso had to be able to integrate and kind of look sensible in his super mode. Either the torso was going to look too small in super mode, or it was going to look right in super mode. Which meant that either the torso was going to look right here, or his limbs and his head would look too small. And indeed, they opted to have the limbs and the head in this mode look too small. I suspect too that most people would tend to kind of keep this guy in his super mode anyway. I know I would if I owned him and had all of the parts. So the articulation, the head, still goes left and right, no problem. Doesn't really look up. I guess because he can look down in his chest, it can sort of look down, but you know, he's not seeing over his chest and tummy. The arms can go all the way around on ratchets. They, you know, can go way out to the side. There's no bicep swivel. We have an elbow to under 90 degrees. The wrists don't swivel. I don't think we have a waist. Nah, no waist. The legs can go, you know, barely forward and back a nice ways. Truth is, if you lift that up, they can go well back, way back. Kind of reminds me of G1 Optimus Prime, where the legs couldn't really go forward, but they could go back, you know, all that you wanted. No thigh swivel. They do go out to the side, like a respectable amount. That's not bad for the time. We do have a knee to 90 degrees, and toe tilt, forward and back, heel tilt, forward and back. Here's the thing, the guy is, especially considering, you know, how chunky I guess he is, the guy can score some poses, he's solid. It would be nice if the legs could go forward. It would be nice if the elbows were 90 degrees. It would be nice if he had a waist. I don't know, 6.5, let's say, 6.5. He was getting an 8.5 and a 10, which meant like a 9.5, 9.25 type of location for the score he was getting. Now it's 6.5. Overall, this functionally speaking, is about a 7.5. It's an alright figure. It's okay. It does feel fantastic, like the plastic feels solid and robust, and you don't feel like you're gonna break anything on it, which is funny since I had to rebuild that little cap. I don't know if it came off and got lost or if it got broken or what, but nevertheless, his chest works fine now. Yeah, by rights, functionally speaking, it's a 7.5. But when we look at him next to some other Optimuses, or Optimi, if you will, the entire pantheon of Primes pretty much beats this guy out. I mean, he's right here, and he sticks out like a sore thumb because the blue is off. There's too much white. He has, you know, the window chest and whatnot. Like, he has the look. I guess he ticks all the boxes that a Prime is supposed to have. The face plate, the head crest, the window chest. It just doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good. So while, again, functionally he's a 7, in terms of just looking like the Autobot leader, looking like somebody who could inspire his fellow Autobots as they, head off into battle against the Decepticons. Like, I wouldn't follow this guy anywhere except maybe to get a deli sandwich. He looks like he probably enjoys a good sandwich and can probably pick out the best one for me to get. And I do like sandwiches. Oh, and by the way, though the complaint has been levied that, oh, he's a lot smaller. I don't know. It's your sense of scale, I suppose. I can tell you that in the modern era here of 2018, he's a solid Voyager. He's a solid Voyager size. Definitely not as big as the Leader, as you can see over here. But compared to, say, the Last Night Optimus or the Evasion Mode Optimus, he's just a hair taller than those guys. Now, admittedly, I'm not exactly a friend of the Unicron trilogy. I'm not a friend or a fan. I don't really like it. But I can't argue the fact that, you know, if you're in the market for having all of the primes from that era, you know, you want all three. And I'm the sort of guy that I think if I had Armada Optimus and then Cybertron Optimus, like, I'd have to have Energon Optimus just to kind of complete the series, so to speak. It's a fine enough entry, but when you are just picking a prime for the sake of picking a prime, I don't know. Would anybody actually pick this as their first prime? Even though he functions great, would anybody actually pick this as their first prime? Just saying. And here we are once again, and I'm left with the same conundrum and quandary that I was when we started this thing. Functionally, this is great. I mean, ratchet arms and ratchet out, and I get it that, like, the whole Combiner Wars Optimus Prime was a nod to this, right down to the, like, chest pieces opening. I am so thankful that I was able to repair and rebuild this little plastic cap over here so that this side of the chest doesn't need to be held on with, like, glue or something. Like, it works. Yay. I do think that this would have been tremendously helped by right across the top, down the sides, and down the middle. And I do believe that that's what was done when this guy came out as Year of the Dragon, Snake, whatever it was. I do wish the legs could move forward. That'd be nice. A thigh swivel would be great. But, like, again, look at the time that this mold was created. At the time, it was functional. It was posable. It was pretty great. And the fact that you could just easily put his limbs for the Super Optimus mode on and take them off easily was a bonus. Something had to give here. Either the torso was going to be too big for the head and the limbs and everything else, so that it would look correct when he was in his super mode, or they were going to make this be more in line with his limbs and his head, which is really sort of what the CGI model looked in the program. At least that looked a little more correct, still not quite right, but a little more correct and traditionally Optimus Prime-ish. Had they done that, then the combined mode would have had a torso that looked too small. And we all know what happens when the torso looks too small. I'm staring at you, foul of Cybertron Bruticus. I don't know. Like, functionally it's great, but this is the old Grandpa Optimus that looks back to his glory days. You know, would I be motivated to, like, be inspired as I go into battle with this guy as my leader? No, I really wouldn't. But, you know, would I be motivated to, like, take him along when I go to, like, breakfast on Sunday morning so that he can, you know, get the seniors discount and, like, the early bird special? Yeah, probably. It's like Geriatric Primus or Optimus Geriatricus. I don't know, like, I don't even know if you guys know what I mean. It's a great Optimus if you want an old man Optimus. There you go. There's the final analysis on this guy. Great figure, but it's not my idea of Optimus Prime. Maybe he is yours. Let me know what you think about this guy. If he, you know, ticks all the boxes and has all the bells and whistles that you enjoy for your version of Optimus Prime. You know I love to hear from you guys. Again, I'm going to say please hit that subscribe button as it helps me out tremendously. Thanks for giving me some of your extremely valuable time, and I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.